The Wally Show podcast is our daily radio show heard live through the WayFM app each morning and hosted by Wally, Gavin, and me, Betty Rock. For more fun, be sure to connect with us at wayfm.com/Wally.
The Wally Show podcast is brought to you by Colorado Christian University Online, where you can earn a degree online just like Betty Rock. You can learn more at ccu.edu/Wally.
Who's that wonderful girl? Could she be any cuter?
Well, she could be a bit nicer. It's News-ish with Betty Rock on The Wally Show.
I don't like that opening.
Love it.
Didn't you make it?
Maybe. But it just assumes that I am not a nice person.
You are.
That's right. You better say I am.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a list of the top things that people have said they notice in someone's home, and they judge you on whether or not you're a clean person or not.
Oh, I do this.
So spring cleaning is around the corner. You might be thinking, I have so much on my plate. The last thing I want to do is clean. Well, hang on to these three things, these top three things that strangers look at. And if you can get these three things clean, you might be okay.
That's a good idea, because my wife will make me vacuum before... Oh, that sounded bad. My wife makes me vacuum. That's true.
It's your house.
I know. But, so, like, she'll make me vacuum before, like, friends were coming over for dinner, like, people that are lifelong friends. It's like, they're not going to judge you, but maybe they will.
Well, the first one is the bathroom.
Yes.
So this is, they said one of the big things is strangers look for toothpaste splatter.
Okay.
Oh.
So if you've got splatter on your mirror,
Yep.
wipe it off. I would also say make sure that you have a full roll of toilet paper.
Yes.
Okay, and make sure that the toilet bowl is clean.
Because there's nothing
Yes.
worse than, like, if you... I never use the bathroom at a friend's house. I will
Really?
drive home first.
Yeah.
I remember one time I had to go really bad. I know it's TMI.
It's a bathroom for a reason.
I know, we were 20 minutes away from our house. I made up an excuse to drive home, left my wife at the thing, then came back to the party. Wow. Yeah, like that was traumatic. And so,
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So, but there's nothing worse than, like, when you're having to hunt through everything for that roll of toilet paper.
Another one, pay attention to your doorknobs and your light switches. So I've noticed this. If
Really?
the area around your doorknob
Yes.
and your light switch, that can get grimy because
Yep.
your hands are always touching it. And so I tell you one thing that really helps is if you get one of those Mr. Clean magic erasers, that can really get the grime off your walls around your light switches.
Because most times when you come into the house, you close the door by grabbing above the door handle.
Yep.
And you'll see your hand marks on
Yep.
there. My door into my house from my garage is definitely like that.
And then finally, this is a big one, the smell. If you haven't taken your trash out, you should probably do that just to be on the safe side, because the smell, if it stinks, if it smells like dog or
Yeah.
cat or just nasty trash, then it's not good.
What if it smells too much like Febreze? Because then don't you think, oh, you're hiding something?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I would.
I would make cookies. I think that's the best thing to
yeah.
do. Make cookies because A, it puts a great smell in the house, and then B, you get to eat cookies.
I mean, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
They suggested that you put an air freshener right by the front door. That way, it's the first thing they smell as they walk in. I would say that helps, but ultimately, clean it up.
Yeah, I like the Disney hotels all have like a signature scent, and
my word.
I know, and so like there are different companies that make candles and stuff that smell like each of those hotels. And so that's a good thing to do, too. Like, then people think they've walked into a Disney hotel when they walk into your house. Maybe they'll overlook the grime, the lack of toilet paper, and the toothpaste splatter. Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show. And it's always nice to get that little surprise gift sometimes, like from your spouse. Like my wife was coming back from a trip, and I had flowers waiting for her, you know. And I try to do something like that. But it's something when you get a surprise gift from a stranger that's kind of interesting as well. Gavin recently experienced this.
Yeah, I came into work, I saw a hat on my desk, and generally like some of our bosses get hats from record labels, so I assumed that was it. But recently I'd worked an event for a Toby Mac concert, met a bunch of fans of WayFM, spoke to one family in particular. This one girl, she's been a fan of Toby Mac her whole life. We talked about stuff. And at one point I'd mentioned, I'm like, oh, I saw all these cool hats on the merch table. And I'm like, I just didn't really want to buy one.
I'm not a millionaire. I can't afford Toby hats.
It's a $45 hat. I'm like, it's not my tax bracket. I'm good today. And so when I saw the hat, our coworker Tyler said, oh, I've got a cool story there. The girl that I had been talked to had won another prize pack from a different artist at the concert. Mm-hmm. And she's like, she came back to where I had hosted the event after I had left and said, oh, Gavin said he didn't have money for that. And so I wanted to give him
You were
this
like a
hat.
sponsored child.
And I felt so special. And so
That's awesome.
It was really cool. Because in her mind, she thought about me in that moment.
Yeah.
And I'm so bummed that I wasn't there to thank her in person. I found an email and was able to email the family to say thank you. But that to me was one of those surprise gifts from a stranger that just totally made my day.
I love that. That's really cool, man. So let's talk about this with you. Has that ever happened to you, something like that, where you got a surprise gift from a stranger, a nicety that you weren't expecting, but it turned your day around? 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. We'll take your story now. What's yours?
So mine isn't where I got a gift. I observed my father when we would go grocery shopping. He would chat with the cash register attendants, whoever was the salesperson, and he would buy a random candy bar, and at the end of the sales, he would give it to the cashier.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
I just saw the way that it would light up their face and all. So I continue that occasionally, depending on when I can afford it. And it's just a blessing to me to be able to make their day by giving them a little something.
That's nice, and it's kind of cool that you saw this. It's like a legacy that he left behind of generosity. Have you ever bought one for a diabetic?
Probably, and didn't know it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, here's a candy bar. They're like, great, thanks.
Thanks. It's a blessing to me to see the joy on their face because they don't expect anything. They're just working their day, and a lot of times they're not really happy, but it does change their day.
Has that ever happened to you?
Absolutely. It was this last Christmas.
Oh, did you say, last Christmas?
I gave you my heart.
And I decided my 2-year-old and I were going to go, look to Target to look at Christmas decorations. And I just recently became a single parent, so money is really hard to come by. So we were walking through the Christmas aisles, looking at all the decorations, having a blast. And I just kind of said out loud to my daughter, we'll get some Christmas decorations next time Mommy gets paid. And I get a on the shoulder from a strange man that I don't know. And he said, you seem to love Christmas just as much as we do. And I said, I really do. It's one of my favorite holidays. I love to worship Jesus Christ and celebrate his birthday. I love all the festivities. And he handed me $400 in cash.
Oh, wow.
And I told him, I said, you don't even know me. Like, I don't feel like I deserve this. I'm not perfect. I've been working real hard. I don't have a lot of money. And fortunately, I was able to buy my daughter all of her Christmas presents.
Oh, that's
Christmas.
amazing.
I was hysterical. I couldn't believe it. God put this on this man's heart and his wife, and they were there and we were there because God wanted to show me, hey, it's going to be okay.
I love that. And now you can do little things to pay that forward around Christmas and show your daughter, look, we were blessed. We might not have this abundance of money, but let's do a little thing for somebody else that's shopping today, and that becomes your tradition.
I love to give back as often as I can. I don't have a lot, but what I do have, I really do enjoy giving.
Well, good news for you. We have support drive coming up.
No.
Does that happen to you, James?
It has. We were on a mission trip, and we were putting a roof on a house for this lady and her family who couldn't afford to get a roof on their house. And it was very hot, and it was so hot that afternoon it literally melted the glue that held the soles of my shoes together, and they just separated. And that evening, we went to one of the local churches, small little country church out in the middle of nowhere, for dinner, and I was telling somebody that story, Later I went out to our van to get something, and I turned around, and there was a man standing there, and he was holding a box, and he said, "Here, the Lord told me to give this to you." And it was a pair of brand new Red Wing work boots.
Oh, those aren't cheap either.
In my size.
Wow, how did he know your size? Maybe the Lord told him. I don't know. Or maybe he was checking out your feet. Either way, you got new shoes.
Yes, it was amazing. And I was telling the pastor of the church about it later on that evening, and he mentioned that individual, the man that gave me to, was a brand new believer. And I just thought that was so beautiful how he was sensitive to the Lord and in his prompting and did that for me.
Hey, Wally, do you have a minute?
Sorry, busy.
I have cake.
Oh, what do you need?
Yeah, see, that's a perfect example of even though we are busy, we make time for what's important.
Yeah, because going back to school as an adult, you're busy with work, you've got family, but if you want to make your education a priority, trust me, you can do it. Betty did.
Like when I first started, I was super intimidated because it had been a while since I've been in school. But I mean, from the very first conversation, I felt like they were setting me up for success.
Yeah, and going back to school with CCU's flexible online courses makes it so convenient.
Yeah, and what's so cool is every class has a biblical worldview perspective. And so you think, well, how can they turn math into a biblical worldview? They find a way.
Yeah, and that was one of my jobs when I was teaching at CCU, was integrating not just the facts and figures of things, but how your faith plays into what you're going to do.
CCU offers Christ-centered higher education, transforming students to impact the world with grace and truth.
Cultivate your mind without compromising your heart. Get started today at online.ccu.edu. Colorado Christian University is a non-profit impact partner.
We take this very seriously.
Very demure.
It's news-ish.
Very mindful.
On The Wally Show.
If you have some extra Kohls cash sitting around in your purse, you might need to use it sooner than you thought. Saturday is going to be the final day for 27 underperforming Kohls locations. So apparently Kohls has some stores that aren't doing as well, so they're shutting them down.
I feel like this is happening more and more, and I can only assume that it's because people are doing online shopping.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I'm doing it too.
It's a big store with a big inventory.
Yeah, the closures came as part of the transformation that they're cutting 10% of the corporate workforce and ending Amazon returns in some of their stores.
That's a big deal.
That's the only reason I go to Kohls, is to return stuff to Amazon. It's crazy. And maybe that's part of the problem. I don't know. I used to love Kohls, but they are more expensive than Marshalls. I love me some Marshalls. And when you get coupons, like, oh, I got coupons. This is great. I'm going to go to Kohls and use a coupon. And then anything you want, they're like, oh, that doesn't work with that. No, sorry. Doesn't work with that.
That's how they get you.
I know they do. So and that was the one time I paid full price for something at Kohls because they're like, oh, it doesn't work with that. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm here now. Just go ahead and take advantage of me. And so I paid full price. And maybe I'm the only one that's ever done that. If more people did that, maybe they'd still be open. And they used to have way better deals than they did. Like back in the day, it felt like they had better deals on stuff. And so maybe those are gone forever. I don't know. But this may affect you if you live in North Dallas. The Kohls on Preston Road is going to be closing. But that's the only one in Dallas, so that's good news. In California, though, they're closing 10 stores. They were the most stores in the state.
Bummer.
It doesn't seem like Californians, though, would shop at a Kohls.
No. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. My Kohls is not closing, which I'm really happy for. And I really hope that they keep the Amazon returns. They do Amazon returns great. Like, you walk into Kohls, and they're so kind in the back, and they're like, is it Amazon return? I'm like, absolutely. Why else would I be here?
Yeah. Yeah, but there are other options. Like, I go to UPS and do it, and it's just as easy.
I don't know. Okay, let me walk you through it. No, when I walk into Kohls, hey, how are you doing? Amazon return? Yes, I do. And you walk over, and you just hand it to them. Whatever it is, you don't have to box it up. Doesn't matter. Here it is.
Yeah.
And they take care of all that, and they scan a thing, and they hand you a 20% coupon to shop in the store,
that
which I never use.
That doesn't work for anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't use it.
No, UPS is better because they have you can park closer to the store. Kohls, you can't. You have to walk a little bit further. And the line is usually shorter, and they're not trying to trick you with a coupon.
I don't know. Like, I got to tell you, Kohls is better at being Amazon than they are at being Kohls. Like, they're really going to... Maybe Amazon should buy Kohls and just have you return stuff there, and maybe all the stuff you're returning, instead of sending it back, they just resell it there. Like, I would go to that store.
Oh, yeah, that'd be interesting.
I 100% would go to that store.
Yeah.
There you go, Kohls. There's $1 million idea. Well, probably not $1 million idea. Probably probably a bad idea that's not going to work, but it couldn't do worse in your stores.
Right.
I'd like to take you on a journey of humiliation that's 2 days in the making. It's Wally Show on Way FM. So I had something to return to Costco. So the day before I go to Costco and I say, hey, can I return this? I don't have a box for it. We've used it a couple times, but it's really not a good product. And Nick was like, absolutely. We're on a first name basis because I saw his name tag. So we're like, Nick was like, absolutely not a problem whatsoever. You just bring that back whenever you can, and we'll take it back. That's why I love Costco. Why their stock is soaring. Like, they just treat you well. So the next day, I go back in, and I get in line to return the item, and I'm holding it, and I see Nick there, and there's a family in front of me, and then still embarrassing to this day. So the family in front of me has like a kid in their cart. But I see Nick, and I kind of make eye contact with Nick, like, oh, yeah, you remember me from yesterday. I'm the guy with the air fryer, like, yeah. And then he does this wave, like, he takes his hand and puts his hand up. Not like a, hey, dude, wave. It was like a hand up, and then where you crunch your fingers like this.
Like for a baby?
Yes! For a baby.
I do it all the time.
I did not see the baby in front of me, so I'm like, "Hey, Nick." So I respond to his hand crunching baby wave with a big resounding, "Hey, man, how you doing?" Like, it's just
you said that, like you said words.
Yeah, I said words. I waved and
worse.
said words, and I could tell it caught him off guard too. Like, who's this guy?
Oh, that is so cringy.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. I would love to go back in time and take that whole day back. I would redo
I don't
it all.
blame you. That is rough.
Yeah. So fortunately, I got to go to somebody else to return it, and so now I never have to see Nick again.
Wow.
So let's do this. If you had a time machine, what would you go back and undo? Okay, for me, it's the cringy wave at Costco. So what would you in your life go back and undo if you could with a time machine? 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. Maybe yours is awkward like that and something like that. Could be funny, could be serious, just whatever it is. What would you go back and change? 855-33-WAY-FM.
The moment that I take back is probably when I went to a surgeon for a knee surgery. I thought I needed knee surgery. I had a torn meniscus, right? Here I am, the doctor's there in the office, and he's there with his nurse. And so I was trying to be, just helping him out. I said, well, I Googled all this on Google, and they said, I didn't need surgery for this. I don't need surgery for this because that's what Google was saying, on YouTube. And he said, you know what? If you want to be Dr. Google, that's fine, but I'm the doctor here, and I know what needs to be done.
Oh.
And, he kind of embarrassed me in front of the nurse and the other people that were there, and I kind of felt very little.
Yeah. Doctors hate Google, and they hate WebMD because
I don't
everybody...
blame 'em.
I know. I would be frustrated by that. It's like if somebody came in here and tried to tell me how to do radio.
Right, because they Googled it.
Right, exactly. I'd be like,
Yeah.
suspect of that. So I understand that, but he should be kind in the way that he treats you in that for sure. Did you go through with the surgery?
I didn't need the surgery. That's what I was trying to tell him. And I wanted the surgery. I thought I needed the surgery. So he said, you don't need the surgery. This can be probably done with a therapeutical, treatment.
And you're like, yeah, dude, that's what I found out on Google. So yeah, I will go to Dr. Google and not pay a copay, sir. All right, Tracy, what is your time machine moment?
So I was a teenager, and my cousin had cancer, was going through chemo treatment, and I had my hair up in a ponytail, and I flippantly said, oh my gosh, my hair's coming out. And I meant out of my ponytail, but her hair was actually falling out.
Oh, yeah.
And I just immediately stopped and was just mortified and felt awful. And she was really cool about it and just kind of laughed. And she's a teenager as well, so what teenage girl wants to be going through that kind of situation.
How is she doing today? I'm just curious.
So she had a really rare genetic disorder that ran in the family, the women in the family, and she ended up dying, which was awful also.
I would like to fire the time machine back up and go back and take that question back.
Yeah, way to go, Wally.
Well, Tracy, we appreciate you being on the show with us today. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
What was yours?
My husband is an obstetrician, and when we're in public, a lot of his pregnant patients come up to him and say, oh, hi, Dr. Juergens, thank you so much. Well, a patient came up to us, and she was a little chubby. And I said to her, oh, congratulations, when are you due?
Ooh.
And she said, I'm one of your husband's infertility patients.
Oh, wow, that's a double whammy, too. Ooh. Oh.
Yeah, I wanted to dig a hole as fast as I can and just cover up,
I get that one. That's surprising that a woman made this mistake. Guys make this mistake more often than we should. Honestly. Like my neighbor yesterday came up to me, and we were just talking and stuff like that. And
She thought you were pregnant?
No. Not helping, Linda.
TMI, my friends. Also known as today's Music Insider with Gavin.
I would argue that in our industry, Torrin Wells probably has one of the most angelic voices. You might recognize him from his song Take It All Back. I'm calling the angels down. I'm storming the gates of hell.
Yeah, Torrin Wells can sing. Like, he's got the runs, and like he can. That was something we did at the Doves. We asked all these artists about Torrin Wells having the runs, trying to read my lips, what I was saying, and it always surprised him. I'm like, no, because he can sing and he can do that. Oh, I see how that was taken out of context.
And they know it. But, if you didn't know, Torrin, obviously a great singer and performer, but he's also had, he grew up in the church. He has preached a lot of his life, and he and his wife actually launched a church in Texas a little over a year ago. And so he posts a lot of his clips from his sermons on his social media. And I'm always surprised again by just how knowledgeable he is on the Bible, just because I know the voice. But then when I hear the substance behind his preaching, I think it's really good. And he was recently talking about that whole idea of like, oh, this is like my truth. And he kind of put a really good twist on it.
You determining that your viewpoint is the absolute correct one is you placing your faith in your own fallibility. The problem is, you're broken, which is why we need the repair that comes through Scripture to show us how to see and interpret things.
Yeah, I mean, the whole my truth thing, because your barometer can be way off. And yeah, it might be true to you, but it doesn't make it truth. I think we run into a really dangerous game when we substitute God's truth for our truth. I think that's where we get messed up. And even in arguments with people about other things, and we're always arguing from our perspective. And emotionally intelligent people can look at their own viewpoint and their perspective and objectively judge it and say, am I off on this? But especially online, no one does.
No. Well, you bringing it up online, I realize even listening to this in my own way that there are so many other places I go to for answers before I go to the Bible, whether it's Google, whether it's TikTok, online, and then myself, and then maybe it's people. And then maybe at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, maybe I should have cracked open the Bible to see what I could have thought in this scenario.
Yeah, start with that, and then work your way down. It's probably a good idea. Well, there you go. That's going to do it for your TMI. Thank you, Gavin. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. Gavin is making his way to the gym a couple times a week now. Still, you still on there?
Trying to do at least 3. 5 is a lot.
Yeah.
For a dad and a guy who wakes up at 4 in the morning.
Sure.
But just a few times.
Yeah, and good for you, man. Like, that's not easy to do. Guys try to work out where we can, but sometimes we're super competitive and we'll push it to the nth degree.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So I found this story, where this guy, this is why guys don't make it long. Women do. So this guy had a bet with his buddy, and then he said his buddy was like, if you can do 2,000 squats in this certain amount of time, then you win. What do you win? I don't even know. It wasn't even specified.
No, pride.
Doesn't matter.
It just, I did it.
I like 20 squats is a decent amount. I'm like, that's a lot.
Well, this guy, he does the 2,000 squats. So like Yeah, like his buddy betted him on. But then he started noticing that his kidneys were failing because he overexerted. You overexert yourself. Your body can only take so much. And so he had to check himself into the hospital because his kidneys were failing.
His friend tried to kill him. His friend knew this.
That's true. But also, too, women would never do this.
No.
Women don't.
Too lazy. No. Sorry.
That's not true.
It was there.
I think this is just one example of why men seem to meet their demise sooner than women, because men seem to want to do the dangerous, dumb thing.
Yeah.
Whereas women like to play it a little bit safer.
Okay. Well, let's talk about this then. Okay. Why do women live longer than men? What do you think? Like maybe you have an example from your own life of your, like me, I'll walk on the edge of the building here. Like when we were shooting stuff up top and you guys had to keep grabbing me and pulling me off the edge.
And why? What are you trying to prove?
I felt alive.
See, this is what I don't get. Yeah. So I know that there are ladies that have seen their husbands do something and they thought, this is why I'm going to outlive him.
Yeah, absolutely. 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. We'll take yours now. What is an example of that, Caroline, from your life?
My husband, he died at 52, I think it was. His health started failing him, and he wouldn't change his lifestyle to compensate for his health. And he died young, and he knew all the risks, and he knew the doctors told him, and he just wouldn't change.
Did it feel somewhat selfish to you, like where you're like, man, I would have made these changes because I want to be around for you?
It was for his kids and stuff, I thought, but he wouldn't do it. He just wouldn't do it.
Carolyn, why is this? Because I have had those conversations with Wally, whereas I'm not married to him, thank goodness. But there are things that he should go to the doctor for. But he's like, if it's going to kill me, well, what are you going to do?
It's going to get me anyway.
No, go to the doctor. It's not a sign of weakness.
If he did his doctor visits and changed his lifestyle and did like the doctor told him, he'd still be here, but he wouldn't do it. I don't know if it's pride or stubbornness or
stupidity.
It's all of those things and insurance. Because I'm worth more dead than I am alive. And
my
so,
goodness. My goodness.
I'm doing my wife a favor by going first. Have you seen this play out in your life?
Yes. When I was a teenager, I wanted a hope chest for my birthday, and my parents got me one. We lived in a 2-story house, and I wanted my hope chest up in my bedroom, and my dad picked it up over his head and climbed the steps with no problem.
Well, that is sweet, but he could have easily hurt himself because if he's got it over his head, he's top heavy and he's going up some stairs. Whereas a woman would think it through, find a way to slide it up. My dad, there was one time that he took a trip to Lowe's and he bought a brand new ladder and he was putting it in the bed of his truck. And he realized as he was lowering the ladder that he couldn't put his right arm down. He heard a pop in it and he just couldn't put his arm down. So he drives himself to the hospital, which I was shocked by, but he said they took too long.
Yeah, I get it.
And he just decided that he was going to leave until a nurse ran out after him and was like, no, we'll help you, sir. Come back, come back. But I asked my dad, I said, what was your plan of action as you're walking to your truck because the hospital, quote, took too long? I said, what were you going to do? Just live your whole life with your right arm not being able to be put down? And he said, I would have figured it out.
Yeah, eventually.
No!
And until he figured it out, everyone just thought he was the nicest guy waving at him. Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show. If you don't already have a trip planned for your family, maybe for summer, we got something that could fit the bill and save you some cash.
Yeah, it's something that you can win. I actually went and experienced this. I went and saw David live on stage at the Sight and Sound Theaters in Branson, Missouri. It was awesome. I really didn't know what to expect, but there were live animals there and they had birds flying overhead.
It's crazy.
Sheep. And I mean, after watching it, I'll never read the story of David the same way again because they really brought it to life. It was just so awesome.
People have said that Branson is the Broadway of the South. Yes. No, but I'm telling you, Sight and Sound's theater in there, it rivals Broadway shows. It is unbelievable. The amount of care they put into telling these Bible stories because it's an outreach for them. That's why they do this, and they've done it for like 50 years. It's amazing.
Right. So right now we are giving away a family 4-pack of tickets for you to go to Branson and see David live on stage at Sight and Sound Theaters. Also a 2-night hotel stay at the Ozarker Lodge, which I also stayed at. And it was super cute. Get the coffee. The coffee was fantastic.
Betty even bought a hat in the gift shop.
I did. And I went to the Titanic Museum, which was over there in Branson.
Yeah.
And they give you like the identity of an actual passenger that was on the Titanic. And at the end of the tour, you find out if you made it or not.
Yeah.
Go figure, I didn't make it.
Yeah, we figured that. But yeah, David at Sight and Sound is amazing.
It's so awesome. And if that sounds like something you and your family would enjoy, text the word David to 91979 and we will send you a link. That's David to 91979.
I'm excited because we've already decided our Christmas plans this year is going to be in Branson with our new in-laws when my daughter gets married.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, we're going to Sight and Sound to see David, which I'm really excited about.
You'll love it.
Oh yeah, it's I've seen their other stuff, Daniel. It was phenomenal. And so if you like that kind of stuff, Broadway style shows, but that have a purpose and a meaning and a real great story, this is for you.
David to 91979. Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.
Uplifting Way FM. If it's trending, streaming, or starring, Betty Rock's got it on The Rock Report.
Shockingly enough, it has been 3 years since Will Smith went up on stage and slapped, what was his name? Chris Rock.
Chris Rock, yeah.
On the Oscar stage.
Oh, wow. Wow. That was a greatest night in the history of television.
Yeah.
Okay.
He did not see that coming.
He didn't see it coming, and neither did us. I mean, it was one of the most talked about things, and it actually wasn't good for Will Smith's career because it put him in a really bad light. And actually, he was banned from the Oscars for 10 years.
That's crazy.
Like I said, he's been 3 years in already, and he was asked recently, is he going to appeal it? And he said no, but that he was looking to be the best human he could possibly be. And he said, I'm going to take what I get with that.
I think that I know people made a really big deal of it, because, I mean, it's basically assault, so that's a problem. I didn't think he was going to get hit by this as bad of a backlash as he did. Mm-hmm. I thought he was going to sidestep it pretty easily. All of that said, I think the 10-year ban is a little much.
You do?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Oh, I don't, because
Really?
I thought it was super disrespectful to go up on stage on live TV and slap someone.
But he took a shot at his wife, and so you're like,
But there
all
were
right.
different, more mature ways of handling the
100%,
situation.
100%. But 10 years for that. I mean, people get less time for murder in jail, like literally. And so I was kind of like, I always thought that was a little bit of an overreaction. He had an overreaction too.
Well, and the Oscars are for the film buffs of the world, and I feel like he took it from film buff to just everyone now cares about the Oscars because something wild happened.
You're right. Yeah. Well, in the meantime, while Will Smith has had all this time to figure out and reflect on his actions, he has come out with a new album. It's coming out this week. It's called Based on a True Story. And he said that it's the result of an initial self-examination. So he's been asking himself those scary internal questions. Maybe what is my purpose in life? Why did I do what I do? I don't know. But he said every song on the album, he said, is a part of me that I discovered. And it's the most full musical offering that I've ever created.
I haven't heard any Will Smith music in years. I think since Big Willie style or something, with the one with the Miami on it.
Welcome
Benito
to
Miami.
Miami.
Like I haven't seen anything. So I guess maybe make the most of your time. If you really aren't doing a lot of movies right now, you might as well go back to your roots, and that was music. So.
But don't insult that album.
Oh no! Can you imagine the first person that interviews him and reviews him? I would love to be that guy. Would love to be that guy.
Not me.
Because Betty would be there and be like, she'd throw me under the bus. She'd be like just saying stuff just to see if he'd hit me.
Yeah, I would. I'd be like, you weren't talking that nice about Will behind his back.
All right, that's going to do it for your Rock Report. Thank you, Lady Rock. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. And the other day, I was watching, not sports, I was watching TikTok. And something came up that is from the world of sports. And it was a referee stopping March Madness, a game, for a very unusual reason.
The game is over. Blowout for the Ducks. So Liberty is subbing sophomore guard J.C. Shire Jr. on as time is running out. He's only played 3 minutes this calendar year, and the coach just wants to get his guy in so he can say he played in the tournament. But there's a chance the clock runs out before he can get in. So the ref pulls an all-time cool move. He calls a timeout on the floor to clean up a wet spot. That definitely doesn't exist. That stops the clock, and Shire gets to check in and get a taste of March Madness.
That is awesome.
It transcends, winning, losing. It's just a guy who says, oh, I see an opportunity for this guy to get in and be a part of something really cool.
Yeah, and the fact that he used the rules to do it where, he didn't have to.
There wasn't a wet spot in the middle of the
he
court.
kind of like put his foot on it like, oh, he did it, okay, and the kid gets to go in and gets to feel it. Like, that to me is awesome. And so this is what I want to talk about. We always talk about sports with parents and how it gets out of hand and people do the wrong things and parents yelling and just kid sports can get really kind of ugly. And so I did want to talk about this, like something that might not make Sports Center, but this happened at my kid's game, like a good thing, like something you saw, and it could have been parents, it could have been kids, being good sports, or a referee doing something, but like that thing that might go unnoticed and is never going to make Sports Center, but was really cool at your kid's game. 855-33-WAY-FM is the number. That's 855-33-WAY-FM, and we'll take yours right now. So what is something that might not make Sports Center, but you saw a cool thing happen at one of your kids' sporting events?
So I'm bragging on my own kid, but I can't help it. My son is a hockey goalie, and during the game, one of the puck came in and knocked the opponent's skate blade off his skate. And as soon as the ref blew the whistle for the play to be dead, my son actually pushed this opponent player back to his bench so he could get his skates taken care of. And the opponent crowd cheered for him, and it was kind of a cool moment. You don't normally see the other team cheering for the goalie.
Big question. When he was pushing him, was the kid upright, or did he have his face in the ice sliding him across?
No, he actually did tell the kid, he said, just sit there, I'll push you back to your bench.
Nice.
So he pushed him over. It
nice.
was cool.
I love that. I love when kids are good sports, and that means you're doing something right, too, as a dad and as a sports dad, instilling in him, that it is bigger than the game. I love that.
Yeah, it was a very cool moment for sure.
Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show. We like to kind of help your life be a little bit better by giving you information, and Betty Rock is really good at this. She's the scoopiest scooper we have, and she'll give you the scoop on what today?
I'm going to give you the scoop on how to sneeze quietly, more demurely. Would you say that you sneeze demurely, Gavin?
I'm a demure sneezer. My wife is a, shatter the room sneezer, and I shouldn't tell her what to do, so I won't, but I am listening.
Yeah, my wife will, go...
Ooh, very quiet.
You hardly even hear it, and mine, it's like lights out. Bacha.
Yeah. My dad could wake the dead with his sneezes. Well, there are 4 tips on how to quiet your sneeze. The first one is to exhale right before it happens, because the more air you have in your lungs, the louder your sneeze will be.
Okay.
Another one is relax your vocal cords. So imagine you're letting out a deep sigh.
So you...
I guess that would be exhaling at the same time.
Yeah,
Those
exactly.
two would cover each other.
Another one, keep your mouth closed. See, there's already so many steps, okay? So you got to relax your vocal cords, you got to let out your breath, then close your mouth.
This all happens in a split second. Yeah. I barely close my mouth when I chew, much less with a sneeze.
I've heard that can hurt your eardrums.
Well, they
though.
said to push your tongue up to the roof of your mouth.
Another
to
step?
direct,
This is insane.
No, this is part of keeping your mouth closed. So you keep your mouth closed, put your tongue up to the roof of your mouth to direct air pressure through your nose instead. And then finally, sneeze into your elbow because that will muffle the sound.
Oh, I have a shoulder injury, and it's hard for me to get my elbow to my face, to my mouth.
I'm chubby, and it's hard to.
Go with shoulder injuries. It sounds a little bit better because I think I'm in the same boat as you.
I came here in a time machine that you invented. Great Scott! Now I need your help to get back in time.
Uplifting WayFM. This is the Wally Show, and if you'd like to control the radio, who doesn't like a little control in their life, at least musically, by taking us back in time to a song that you would love to hear again, maybe one that we don't really play anymore, but you're like, man, this was a great song. You could be our Flashback Friday winner, and we're not set for Friday yet, so it could be you this Friday.
That's right. When you text the word FLASH to 91979, we'll send you a link, and in that link, you'll just fill out a form about the song that you want to hear and the reason behind why you want to hear it, how it has impacted your life. And don't hold back. I mean, we've had some people request songs from the early 2000s, maybe one from last year. The span is wide, and the time capsule, I wouldn't say it's great. I mean, it's a 1982 version.
It can go most places.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that we can get back to the 70s. We're not going to do Larry Norman, probably. But, like, if you went back here.
So don't you be afraid of giants.
Little Francesca Battistelli. If Gavin ever brings up songs for me so that I can play examples, he always puts a Francesca Battistelli song in there.
You've said that she's guilty pleasure.
She is for
you.
me too. Yeah.
Like I'm just now realizing I would have never said that, but I've done that every time recently.
Yeah, every time.
She's
Francesca. Do you have like a Francesca T-shirt? Do you have a Francesca poster in your room?
I don't know, but look at that smile on his face.
What if it's just one?
Yeah, that's one too many. All right, so if you'd like to have your very own Flashback Friday, all you have to do is deliver us, like Betty said, your song and why you want to hear it. Text that. Text the word FLASH. Sorry, text the word FLASH to 91979, and we'll send you a link so you can fill out the form.
Well, that's the end, but it doesn't have to be. Check out our Aftercast. It's new stuff you didn't hear in the podcast. Be sure to rate us on iTunes as well as connect with us on social media. Just search Wally Show. And if you'd like to join our Facebook group made exclusively for you potties, the link is in the description of this podcast. Thanks to Colorado Christian University Online for supporting what we do.